Hello everyone and welcome to the Deep Blue Renegade podcast. My name is Molly, also known as the Deep Blue Renegade, and I'd like to welcome you guys to episode 76. Today is Sunday, February 8th. Yes, it's the 8th. And I'm really glad that you could join me today. There is quite a bit to show you guys today. And probably the first thing I should show is the Moonstone shawl. Yay! It's done. And I am wearing it, though it seems like it sort of blends in at the moment with my shirt. But this guy is an absolute monster. Measuring it on the blocking mats, which is, they're about a foot a piece. This guy comes in at about 8 feet in wingspan and then 3.5 feet in depth. So we are talking, like, I tried to push the camera a little bit further out than usual so you guys could see how ridiculous this guy is. Oh, I'm sitting on it. That's how long it is. It goes all the way down. I do need to weave in the 2 ends I have, but other than that, it's fine. So there you go, the Moonstone shawl. Sort of, you have to like pull it back a little bit. You like go all the way to the left, then all the way to the right. This guy is. See the point? Ah, there's the point. So it turned out quite lovely. I'm glad I finally finished it. I ended up having 4.4 grams left over. And I think, what is it? That ended up translating to 32 yards after I gave a sample to one of the women in my knitting group so she could figure out if she could touch if yak was one of the fibers she was not allergic to. She already knows silk is fine, but adding to that list would be a good thing. So, really big, really lovely. I just did the simple blocking that was indicated in the pattern. There was a moment where I was a little bit worried because it took some finagling to get one of the repeats. I had screwed it up for a couple of rows, but I think I managed to get everything back to where it was supposed to be by just sort of dropping down, because I didn't really want to tank back, like, I don't know, somewhere between 4 to 6 rows in order to get it fixed. So I'll just try there. And it was actually a pretty easy block as well, so that was good. So it's done. Yay! I finished it Friday knitting because at some point, the first person I come by, because I actually, took a good chunk of the afternoon off on Friday and just hung out in the sunshine drinking my Arnold Palmer. I managed to power through the last 6 rows at Knitting Friday, so that was quite lovely. And then when the first person came by, I was like, I'm finishing the shawl today, and she's like, what? And then everyone was surprised, and I'm like, I'm done! And they, like, just hadn't noticed that I was binding off. So, no big deal there, but it is always cool to finish something at midnight, because, whatever, in the presence of knitters, it's always more pleasant. So, what is it? I started that in the middle of November, and then finished it on the 6th, so it took a while. The other thing that's still on the needles is the Viajante. I finally crossed the 75% done mark, so that was pretty awesome. And it is still quite large. It's still on the biggest single needle I have at the moment. I was debating whether or not I wanted to throw it on throw on an extension, and then decided not to. So it's pretty crammed onto the needles at this point, but there's still room here in order to do that. And you can see a lot more of the beads now. I'm just trying to look at this rather carefully and make sure I'm not pulling the needle out because that would be annoying. So the beads are sort of the white translucent beads. They're gold lined, and so they end up sticking out fairly nicely on the knitting, and I'm putting them in every 4th row, every 8th stitch, and this ends up producing this nice little pattern here in the mesh. The mesh is definitely much more interesting to knit than the stockinette and the round, but it's also less mindless than the stockinette and the round, so whatever. You win some, you lose some. And in this case, I just have another knitting row to go. In terms of progress made, let me rejigger this around. So this is what the month of progress looks like right now. So I didn't do as much as I did last week on this shawl, but probably it's the case where the beads are slowing me down a little bit at this point. So I will move the marker onto the next spot. So I was thinking at the rate I was initially going through the shawl that it was going to take about 10 weeks to knit, and I'm now at the 10 weeks part and I'm only 3/4 of the way through. So this might have something to do with the spinning binge, which was January. Quite possibly. So I'm not too worried about it, just understanding. So I still have quite a bit more to go. So what is it? I have a little bit less than 75 grams of this guy, which means it looks like a normal skein of yarn now. And then I'm actually keeping it in this bag now, because that seems to be the easiest way to keep track of the hook and the beads all at once. So so the bead rows tend to, take a little bit longer, but it's not too bad as far as a carry around project is concerned. I was beading while we were running around doing errands yesterday, so not too shabby. So Viajante by Martina Bem in the Blau Tint colorway on size 2 needles, and well, eventually it'll be like, so big. So it is coming together, and I'm probably going to run out of beads. This is taking a lot of beads, so I'll have to go back to the bead store again. I thought, maybe I was thinking I was going to do a beaded bind off, and then I'm like, well, I probably am going to have more than 200 stitches, so then I got 2 tubes of beads, and then I saw an inspiring project, which then made me want to put the beads in the mesh, which made it more complicated. For the moment, I'm actually not too worried about starting a new project, so we'll see how long that lasts, but for now this is the right balance between mindless and not mindless, so it'd be sort of nice to power through it and have it done. So I'm not quite, whatever. Since I've had it on the needles for so long, it'd be sort of nice to just concentrate on something and finish it off. Unfortunately, I didn't finish spinning the chocolate shell and fleece. I am definitely a lot farther on it than before, so I finished the 2-ply step, and I'm now in the cable ply step, which is good. So it's all rustic and stuff. Yeah, you can sort of see how it looks. And actually, I'm sort of curious how much I have left to apply and make sure I forgot to check this before starting to record, so we'll switch that to ounces. What are we looking at? Oh, I'm about as far as I was last week. So I still have 1.3 ounces left to apply, so I have 0.7 ounces on the spindle at the moment, so we shall see how it goes. It's definitely a lot more chilled out than the first round of plying, so we'll just continue on. This is, I also started this back in November as well, I think. It's been slow going. I'm wondering if a good thing to do this afternoon is actually just to sit down and card a bunch of the roll-outs, just so that I have more of it done and it isn't an excuse to not continue working on the project. So we shall see. It is coming along rather nicely. It's really mindless to ply, so I can ply in the dark, so it's been a good movie sort of project to do. It's a bit harder to spin that in the dark, though. There is just all sorts of interesting with that fiber, which makes it more challenging. But because I'm using my spinning bag for the plying, which I don't know why it was that I thought I could do more. I haven't ended up working on my camel silk spin, so it is no further than what it was last week, and such is life. It is, I don't know, it is really gorgeous though. I'm really happy with how it's turning out. But if this is any indication, there's just all sorts of delightful fluff going on here. And that it'll definitely be helpful to get that into the spinning bag so that it's more contained and whatnot. Because it's definitely going to make a mess with all this fluffiness. So spinning is definitely taming that down a lot, but so I'm not sure how long it's going to take to finish plying the Shetland, but once I finish plying the Shetland, then that will be going into my spinning bag, and then I will be going to town on that, because it is quite lovely to work on. I don't have anything on my wheel right now, and whatever. I have 2 spinning projects going. I shouldn't be too concerned about it. I would like to finally figure out how to use the lace flyer. What is it? Because I know that I'm spinning DK-ish singles with the regular, what is it? With my regular flyer, so understanding how to spin really lovely singles for lace and fingering would be pretty awesome in my opinion, but I need to pick an easier fiber to draft to start out with. So I'm not sure what that is going to be, but I will keep you guys appraised on the situation. I didn't stir that very well. I was waiting a little bit for my husband to go into the garage or something, and it just took a long time. So I do have stash positions this week. Crinkle, crinkle, crinkle. I ended up coming across a really awesome de-stash, and so I decided to spring for it. I was a little bit late on the trigger, so I ended up losing out on some other nice things, but such is life. So what I ended up getting was a skein of wool mycelace, and then 2 fiber optic gradients. So here are the fiber optic gradients. So this is the bitter lime to rose gradient, and it just has all sorts of jewel tony delight. A little bit higher. Oh yeah, isn't that gorgeous? And I have spun Kimber's gradients before, and they are amazing. So the other one I find is sort of interesting is actually a much lighter color than the other one. So I'm not sure the why exactly, but you can sort of tell here that this one is lighter. So I don't know if it was like exposed to the sun or what, but whatever. It'll end up making a pretty heathered yarn when the time comes. And so what I'm probably going to do is spin one and spin the other and then ply them together, and get a really nice 2-ply gradient for like a shawl or something, like a nice big shawl, because you know me. Nice, big, lovely shawl. Now, the skein of wool mice lace was actually quite the steal because it turned out the person had actually over-dyed it. So I think it used to be, what is it? I think it used to be amethyst, which is a purple, but she ended up doing it totally in my colors, so I decided it'd be worth it. So there's a little bit of black, blue, dark purple, and then like a fuchsia color. And I think it ended up looking quite lovely. So it's my favorite material to work with, and I decided it'd be a good one to have. I'm not sure what I will be knitting with it. Maybe it turns out this is a good candidate for lace swap knitting. Not because, what is it? Because I can't swap this skein, but I'm fine with that. Like when you're in a wool mice swap, you tend to think of doing her colors instead of different colors, but I was just taken by how pretty it was and excited to be able to knit with it. So, and it was like I don't know. I find that $50 for a skein of lace is totally worth it for wool mice, even if it isn't her colors. So that's the story there, is loveliness. It's probably going to be a couple of, it's going to be a while before I have more stash positions because DFW Fiber Fest is at the end of March, and I don't think I could deal with the ribbing I would get from the Dearsy Love one if I brought more things home between now and then, so I'll just wait until then and find something lovely and luxurious there. Yeah, that's the short answer. If you are in the Texas area, I will definitely be going to the Fiber Fest. I'll probably be going on Saturday. I'll probably have to coordinate a little bit with my knitting group, but I'm assuming that we'll all be there on Saturday or something like that. So, and try to figure out when other cool people are going there as well. Who knows? But if you want to meet up, I would be more than happy to. It is so much more fun to buy yarn with people. So, it is a tremendous amount of fun, actually. Actually, I bought the yarn for this at the Vogue Knitting Live in Chicago with someone from the Wool Mice for All Seasons group. So, like, enabling is so much easier when you can pet it in hand. So that is a story there. I'm sure there'll be some sort of podcast or meetup as well, and hopefully it's on Saturday, because I'll have to record on Sunday, of course. So this is, what is it? So it's not going, normally it's the last weekend of March, but this year it is the third weekend, or second to last, or something like that. Let me check the computer. And it'll be interesting because normally I go a little bit crazy in March in terms of buying things because it's going to be my birthday month. Okay. So if it is the 27th and 28th, I guess I should just look this up and make sure I'm giving you guys the right information. So the last week in March is the 27th and 28th. Alright, we shall look this up. DFW Fiber Fest. Let's see how it goes. Because I wasn't, it might be the 20th and the 21st. Oh, Firefox isn't responding. This is making it much more challenging. Now I'm out of coffee. Or I'm really out of coffee now. Oh no. Enter. Alright, looking promising now. I don't know why Yahoo search is coming up with that. I should be doing Google search. DFW Fiber Fest. They don't obviously have the date on the front. It is the March 20th through 22nd. It is the 10-year reunion. They have evening tickets are going on. Thursday evening will be Stephanie Pearl McPhee. Friday evening will be Franklin Habit. And, so you can choose which evening you do. And the vendor hall is open to the public all weekend long. So Friday and Saturday it is 9 to 6, and Sunday it is 9 to 4. And they are doing a $5 day pass or $10 weekend pass. So there are options. I think all the classes are full now. And that I would have signed up for the JC Boggs class, but at the time I didn't have a wheel, so. So there you go. DFW Fiber Fest is going to be the 3rd weekend in March. So, yay! And they're going to have a lot of fun things going on. So I'm not sure if I'm going to do any of the evening events, which is fine. Based on how well they handle the initial selling of classes, I'm assuming it's going to be a bit of a mess. So I can pass. Let's see. Anything else I wanted to talk about? Apparently in September, I believe the 20th and the 21st, there will be a new event called Stitches Texas, and that will be happening also in Irving, because apparently Dallas is the epicenter of Texas. So I haven't ever been to a Stitches event before, but obviously it should be a fun time anyway, so we shall see about that. What else? I think that is everything. So I should be able to record next week, and that will be the 13th of... It is not the 13th. It'll be the 15th. Oh man, that was such a bad adding fail, because I was thinking it was the 13th, but that is actually going to be on Friday. And that this year Valentine's Day is on a Saturday, so that makes it a little bit harder than usual to get restaurant reservations, apparently. So I will be recording again on the 15th of February, and I really do look forward to talking to you guys then. Something special, Cal. I'm spinning the camel silk for the something special, Cal. There, I didn't forget it. Alright. Alright, take care, guys. Bye-bye.